My favorite part about producing is just the mystery around it. Like, you don't wake up in the middle of the night, like full ass song in your head and think, oh, I'm gonna hop on and make it. Really, you just kind of open up Ableton and you hope for the best.
I'm counting all the games and all the plays and all the things you do. I know it's all a game, and so I'm staying alone away.
Jaded really started out more as like a feeling more than anything. I think when I was starting, I didn't really have anything to go off of. When I make music, it's more or less a feeling that I'm trying to capture. So one night I'm just on YouTube searching for samples. I come across this old Brazilian record from the 70s. It just mesmerized me. Like, I listened to it like 5 times in a row and I instantly knew. So I started there. I got hella effects on that shit, man. I got like a chorus. I got a phaser on there. I got some reverb on there. I got EQ. I got too much fucking EQ on there, man. I don't even want to get into that. That shit was a fucking nightmare trying to EQ this sample. So one thing I like to do when I'm working on beats that use samples is I like to create and cut different sections of the song just by playing the sample at different octaves. So for the verse section of the song, I just took the sample and I lowered it down an octave and I ended up getting something like this. Some of the modulation and processing I got on the sample is like a little bit of auto pan. I think after everything else I put on the chain, you throw some auto pan on there, slowly starts waving the song back and forth, and it creates a little bit of movement that I feel takes it from just like something the amateur would cook up to something that you would hear on studio records. It's like my engineer likes to say, it's like ear candy for the listener. It's like a wave. You hear the sample rising and falling and crashing, and it's going back and forth between the headphones. I don't really got a set pattern of which one I work on first. Sometimes I work on the drums first, but in this case I had the sample first. And usually when I got a sample or I got something to work off of melodically or harmonically, that's when I like to add a snare and build the drum set off of that. So I got the snare right here. Got the kick next. Now with these hi-hats, I got a little bit of delay on it. I find that sometimes when you're using hi-hats as like an accent to the beat and it's not the main focus. In general, when you're making beats digitally, you can find that certain elements start to sound a little bit robotic. So I threw a little delay on this hi-hat because it adds a little liveliness to it. So put together all the drums sound something like this. So next thing I recorded was the 808, and it's kind of a funny story with the 808. When I brought this shit into the studio, my homie Jorge, who's my engineer on all my records, he wasn't really feeling this 808. He was telling me, oh, nah, bro, it's too long. Like, the tail lasts too long. You gotta swap it out for something shorter. With the drums, I felt like the rhythm was so spastic and a little chaotic, so I wanted to add a 808 in there that was a little longer so it could flow a little better with the beat. Long story short, we kept it in there. I almost had to fight that fool over it. Almost stepped outside and threw hands, but long story short, we kept it in there. I think my favorite part of this whole beat is this little piano part that I threw in here. Don't ask me how to play it, because I was just laying chords over the sample. I don't even remember how I played this shit. I don't remember what notes I played, and I ended up turning it from a MIDI into an audio file and messing with the warping settings so that I could create that warbly effect on it. I thought that sounded sick when I finally brought it in to the studio. One of my biggest influences musically was J. Cole. On Cole's beats, he does something a little unique. Instead of having just rapid fire sprinkler hi-hats, he'll do, it's like a trap hat, but more rhythmic. He'll have it more stagnant. Generally, when you work on the hook of a song, you want to build in some way. That's just how song structure works. So with the hook of this one, I didn't want to change too much. I had the piano in there, and so I decided I was going to layer something else on top. So I ended up swapping out the hats, and I threw a snare over it, a second snare to layer on top of the first one. So all the elements of the hook sound something like this. I'm Cuervo. Thanks for watching my beat breakdown.